Good evening, everyone, joining today's class. And for those that are going to be watching the video later, good evening to you guys.
Good evening, sir.
All right. We are going to continue from where we stopped in our last class. So we did an introduction to Dome in our last class. So let's continue from there today, and let's see if we'll be able to build the project I talked about in our last class. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new folder. So this will be class 8. So today makes it 1 month. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'll call it class 8. So what I'm going to do inside of class 7, I'm going to copy the index.html, the script.js, and the style.css. I'm going to copy them together and paste it inside of class 8. All right, so then I'm going to open this with my live server. All right, so let's look at what we discussed in our last class. So we discussed selecting DOM elements. We talked about what do you call it? Okay, we talked about selecting DOM element. We talked about using different methods that we can use to select DOM elements. We also talked about getting and setting HTML content. So those were the things we discussed in our last class. So I'm just going to clear all this. I'll clear all this. So let's start working with this. Let's start working with this. Now let us manipulate this styling. Let us manipulate this styling. All right, please mute your mic. That's the general. All right, so let's now work with this. There are a lot of things that we haven't done yet as regards to DOM. We have what they call it, transversing the DOM. We have how we can do styling using JavaScript. All right, so we've not really done that. All right, so let's move on. Please mute your mic. You only unmute your mic when you want to speak or ask a question. All right, thank you. So it won't affect the recording. All right, so now let me explain what we are trying to do here. So this is a guess my number. So what we are trying to do is whatever value that we pass here, let's say 23, and we click on this button called check. So once we click on the button called check, we are going to check if the number that we pass here is the same as this secret number. So the secret number will not be revealed until the number that you guess is equals to the secret number. So that's when the secret number um will be revealed. So at every attempt that you make, you will um how am I going to put it? At every attempt that you make, because you can only make up to 10 attempts. You get that now? You can only make up to 10 attempts, and you can guess a number between 1 and 20. So the secret number is between 1 and 20. So how do we generate the secret number? We are going to generate the secret number using a random number. So there's a way we are going to do it. All right. So I want us to look at everything now. So what if you guess the secret number, then the number will be the number will be added as the scores. You get that now? Will be added as the scores. So what we have here, these are just numbers that are coming from the HTML, the static file. 20 is 0. So let's see how we can reset everything using JavaScript to manipulate the DOM. So now, but first of all, we need to do initialize some things. Like first of all, let's initialize the secret number. Let's um get the secret number. Let us also set the initial value of scores to 20 and the initial value of I scores to what is 0. All right, so let's move on. So here I will do let secret number, or this is how to generate a random number. Let's look at that before we start assigning them to a variable. So to generate a random number is very simple. All we just need to do is math dot trunk, no, math dot random, sorry, math dot random generates what, a random number between a 0 to 1. So if I console the log this, for instance, I console the log math dot random like this, math dot random like this. So I haven't taught you math method, number method, date method. That will be later as we continue this class. So let's console the log math dot random. So now can you see when I hover on the random, it tells us that it returns a pseudo random number between a 0 and 1. So let's see the results here. So I'm just going to, okay, let me reduce this. Okay, good. And inspect. Mm, come to the console. Now we have a random number between a 0 and 1. So it's giving us a floating number. So if I refresh my page now, for instance, if I refresh, it's going to give us something different. If I refresh again, it's also going to give us something different. So this is how to generate random number in JavaScript. So now we're only getting a value between a 0 and 1. Look at the values we're getting. What's, let's say if we want to get a value between a 0 and 20. That means because the number we want to guess, or the secret number we want to generate, has to be between 1 and what, 20. So since math.random only generates a number between 0 and 1, so we have to multiply the math.random by what, 20. So say times 20. So this will give us a random number between a 0 and 19 point something, close to 20, but not exactly 20. So let's see the result here. So when I refresh, can you see we are getting 12.71. We refresh again, we'll get 3 point something. We refresh, we'll get 11 point something. We refresh, we get this. So we keep refreshing, it keeps generating a different number entirely. But we don't want to we don't want these decimal numbers, these floating numbers. We don't want these numbers after the point. So how can we remove the number after the point? There are several options, but we are going to use math.trunk. So math.trunk removes the numbers after the point. So we'll be left with what, a whole number or an integer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this expression. I'll cut it and I'll put it inside of what, math.trunk. So math.trunk, then I paste it inside of the parentheses. So can you see? So if I save now and let's see what we have here. Now we have 4. No more, decimal numbers. So if I refresh, we have 17. If I refresh, we have 5. So I can keep refreshing and it will give us different values. So we will not exactly get 20. We only get a figure between 0 and what, 19, because it's a random number and it gives us a floating number. We'll just use math.trunk to remove the decimal. So in order for us to really get a number between 1 to 20, what we are going to do is to add plus 1 to this. That's after the trunk method. We'll just add plus what, 1 to it. So with that, it will help us generate a number between 1 and 20. So if we keep refreshing, we should be able to get 20 as a value here. If I try 3 times and I don't get that, we'll move on. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, but it will generate a number between 1 to 20. All right, so that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the console and I'm going to assign it to a variable called secret number. So say let secret, did I spell that correct? Let's secret number. be equals to this. All right, good. Let secret number be equals to this. Then the next one will be I want this course to be 20 by default. So let's call be equals to what? 20. They will now have the I score. So the I scores will be equals to what is 0. The reason why we are declaring it with let is because we are going to change the value later. We are going to, mutate the value. All right. So now let's move on. I want us to um, create all. Let's check. Let's look at the elements that we are going to we are going to be manipulating in this case. Let's look at all the elements that we are going to be manipulating in this case, because not all DOM elements that we are going to manipulate. So the ones we are going to manipulate is these two buttons. The first one is having a content of again. The second button is check. So we are going to manipulate that. That's two. And we are also going to manipulate the input. The input, that's three. We also manipulate the message. You see that the message they start guessing. So we are going to manipulate it. So this message there, once we type a number or once we pass a number that is lower than the secret number, we'll have what do you call it now? We'll have too low or something. Then if we have a number that is higher than the secret number, we have too high, at least to give us an int. You get that now? And if the number that we get is correct, like if we the number that will pass is tallies with the secret number, then we'll change the message. All right, we'll change the message. So how many things are we manipulating? Three. Okay, the message part that's making it four. Then the secret number will be five. Then the scores, the number of the scores, we also manipulate it as six. Then the I scores, we also manipulate it as what? Seven. And also if you guess, if your guess is correct, that means if the number that you type in the input field is equals to the secret number, then we want to change the background color of the body to a different color. So that means we are going to also manipulate the body. So that makes it what? 8. So all these elements that we are going to manipulate, we have to what? Select them. All right, so let's select them. Let's go to our HTML, sorry, our script.js. Let's select them. That should be before this initialization. So let me do initials, initializing the game. All right, so let's do const um again btn. That's the first button. So I will need paste it. Okay, put it here. So we have the again. Where is it? The buttons. Okay, the button. We have the check, and we also have, where's the, okay, then we have the button again. All right, can you see this button again? So I'm just going to use document dot. So I'll use a query selector. I already taught you that query selector. So since it's a class, I'm going to just use I'm going to do dot again. All right, so let's check. Let's select the second button. So I'll say check btn and give it document dot query selector dot check. All right, so what again? Then the main, that's the input. I'm going to select the input const. So that's the input with number. So I'll just say number, or let's do or num l. So that's represent number element dot query selector. So what's the class name there? Okay, it's called guess. So I'll say dot guess. Then the next one will be the second section will be the message. So I'll say const um, MSGL, that's message, or let me write it in full. Message element. So document dot query select. Is it query select? Okay, yeah. Let's see what we have here. Okay, it has a class of message, so I'll give it dot message. All right. So the next one will be I scores. Yeah. So the label score. So I'm going to select this span that has a class of score. So I'll come here. I'll do const. I'll say score L, and I'll do document dot query selector. Then I'll give it a score. All right. So the next one will be I score L. So then we also select the body too as well. Yes. Const. We'll just give it body, or let's do body element. So I'll say document. Hold on. Let me accept someone. All right. So I'll say um, document dot query selector. I'll select the body. So it's a tag. It's a tag name. So what other thing do we need to select? So I think in total there are eight. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have one more to go. Hold on. All right. We have one more to go. Okay, that's the secret number. Where are you? 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 So that should be yes. Div with the ID of what number. So I'll come here. I'll do const secret num l, and I will give it. Okay, it is actually an ID. So since it's an ID, let me just do get element by ID. Get element by ID. All right, good, fantastic. So we selected everything. Yeah, we selected everything. So the next thing I want to do is um we want to whatever value that will pass here when we click on this button. We want to fetch. We want to get the value. We want to get the value of the input. All right. So this will lead me to hold on. All right. Okay. There's one mistake I made here. Let me correct it. So I did get element by ID. I'm not supposed to add a dot to it. All right. So I'm not supposed to add a dot to. So I'll just remove the dot because we check the HTML. We have ID of what number. So I'll remove the dot. Sorry. Thank you for bringing my attention to that, Mr. Felix. All right. So let's move on. So now back to um events. So let's talk about event. What exactly are events? What are events in JavaScript? So yeah, events in JavaScript are actions or occurrences that happens in a web browser. Events in JavaScript are actions or occurrences that happens in a web browser. So these actions or occurrences that happens in a web browser are like as such as click. These are click actions, key press, or a form submission. Of course, there are a lot of what they call it events. JavaScript events. There are a lot of events. So here it says JavaScript provides a built-in mechanism to detect and to handle events, allowing you to create interactive web pages that responds to user action. Let me repeat that. Events in JavaScript are actions or occurrences that happens in a web browser, such as a click, key press, or form submission, which is not limited to that. So JavaScript provides built-in mechanism to detect and to handle events, allowing you to create interactive web pages that responds to user action. All right, that responds to user action. Most common types of events include click, key down, load, submit, change, mouse over, scroll, and what? Resize. Web events are not part of the core JavaScript language. They are defined as part of the APIs built into what? Browser. All right. So from the other note that I have here, it says that events are action or occurrences that happen in the browser. Okay, I think it's apparently the same thing. So let's look at types of events. Let's look at types of event. So I think I will do that in a note. So here, type types of event. So number one, we have the mouse event. So the mouse event entails the click event, entails double click event. Then we have mouse down, we have mouse up, we have mouse move, we have mouse over, and we have mouse out. So these are the events under mouse event. You get that now? So click simply means, so click, it triggered when an element is clicked. So it triggers when an element is clicked. Why double click triggers on a double click? Then you have mouse down. It triggers when a mouse button is pressed. When a mouse button is pressed, then we have mouse up. It triggers when a mouse button is released. Then we also have mouse move. This triggers when the mouse moves. Then we have mouse over. This triggers when the mouse enters an element. It's like this mouse over is similar to over in CSS. Then we have mouse at. It triggers when the mouse leaves an element. We'll not be able to look at all the examples of this, so I'm just going to give you as an assignment to make more research on the double click, the mouse down, mouse up, mouse over, mouse move, and mouse out. So the one I'm interested in is the click under the mouse event. Then we also have another event which is called the keyboard event. It is called the keyboard. What am I typing? The keyboard events. So under the keyboard events, we have key down, we have key up, we have key up, we have key press, we have, okay, just that's all, key press. So now for the keyboard event, the key down triggers when a key is pressed. If any of the key of your keyboard is pressed, it triggers. That's keyboard event. Then key up means it triggers when a key is released. The moment you release a key, it triggers. Then we have key press. So this key press triggers when a key is pressed. When a key is what? Pressed. So it is deprecated now, because now we can use key down for that instead of key press. Then we now have um what we call the form event. Now we have form events. So under form events, we have submit, we have focus, we have blur, we have change. Yes, we have change. So for the submit, it triggers when a form is submitted. Why for the focus is triggered when an input feed is focused. And we have the blur, it triggers when an input feed loses focus. Then we have the change, triggers when an input feed's value changes. When the value of the input feed changes, it triggers an event. So I think number 4 is the window event. So the window event, uh we have the load, we have the resize, we have scroll, we have unload. These are the events, and there are many more. So we have load, resize, scroll, and unload. So this is not all. This is not all of the events that we have. But the one I'm really, really interested in this project is the click event. That is what I'm really, really interested in. So the click event triggers when an element is what clicked. Take for example, when I click on this element, where is it? When I click on check, it should trigger something. It should perform an action. So you get that now. It should perform an action. It should, do something. The moment I click on this button, something should happen. So that what should happen can I will, that will be the one to create it ourselves. So now, how do we handle events in JavaScript? How do we handle events in JavaScript? How do we handle events in JavaScript? There are three main ways to handle events in JavaScript. Please listen. There are three main ways to handle events in JavaScript. Number one is using inline event handler. Inline, let me do that. Three ways to handle events in JavaScript. So number one is using event handler. So all right, so now it says this is the most basic way of, and so three ways of handling event handler. Number one is inline event handler or handling, whichever one, or inline event handlers. This is the most basic way of handling events in JavaScript. It involves adding an event handler directly to the HTML element using the on attribute. So you get that. So you can add an event directly in an HTML element, but this is generally discouraged due to maintainability issues. So it's not recommended, but I'm just going to show you. It's not what recommended. All right, so let's move on. Let's say, for example, this index.html that we have here. So let's see how we can use um, the inline event handler. It says that it involves adding an event handler directly to the HTML element using the on attribute. So I'll come here. Let's say I want to use an event on which one now? Okay, let's use it on this input. Yes, sorry, this button that has the value of check. Let's use it here. So I'm just going to, inside of the opening tag of the button, I'll create a space, then I'll do on. So this on now is an event handler. This what handles what? An event. So we still have like event handler, normal event handler. So we are going to look at that. But now we want to add an event in this HTML using inline event handler. So we need an attribute called on. So the one to type on, is showing us list of events that we are looking at here. So list of events that we have. Can you see we have tons and tons of what events here? Can you see tons and tons of events that I didn't even list out to you guys on input, form change, a lot of things here. All right. So, but the one I'm interested in is on click. So I'll click on that. So this on click here. So this is what we have. So we have an on click. So what do we want to do whenever this button is clicked? What we want to do whenever the button is clicked will be passed in between these quotes. So probably I might say I want to alert something like button button clicked. Yes. Button clicked. So now I save. Now watch what we are going to get. So the moment I click on this button, look at button what? Clicked. I repeat that. I click button click. So now when I click on this button, an event has been triggered. And what kind of event is that? It's a click event. So the on there is the event handler that listens for the click event and perform what? An action. So the action that we want to perform in this regards is alerting button click. So the moment a click event has been a click event has happened, is going to execute this what? Alert message here, button clicked. So that is how inline event handler works, but it's not actually recommended anyways. So the next one we are going to look at, which is the second way of handling what event, is um using what they call event handlers event property. Yeah, event property. So let me just, it is called event properties. So this method is actually better than the first one, event property. So this method involves adding event handlers to the JavaScript file and hence linking it to the HTML file. All right. So it means that the event property, it means that you can assign a function to an event property in JavaScript. So now let's say for example, come to the JavaScript file now, and we already have a button selected here, and that is check BTN. So I'll come here, I'll do check, I'll clear it off anyways. So I'll do check BTN. All right, check BTN. Instead of doing check BTN, then I'll do dot on click. You see that dot on click like this. So this is what we mean by property, event property. So check dot on click. So this check BTN is a variable that is holding this element that we selected. So now we now added what on click to it. So we want to listen for a click event on this button. So and once we listen for that click event, what do we want to do? We want to perform an action. So the action will be in a function. So I can just do function, then I'll say alert and button clicked. That's all. Alert button clicked. And let's see what we are going to have here. Okay, let me first of all clear the one from the inline. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, yeah. Let me remove it. So back to my JavaScript file. So let's see if it's going to work now. So if I click this, can you see it worked? I click again, you see it worked. All right, so that's for event property, and which is a better approach compared to the first one we looked at. So this is how it works. You have the event attached to the element that you've selected. Then you now have what a function. So this function will be executed once that the click event is what listened for. So once the click event happens or is triggered, once the click event is triggered by this element, this button, then it's going to execute this function. And what is inside of this function? Alert button click. All right. So all right. So let's move on. That is for event property. So let's look at add event listener. So this method is the best practice so far. So is the best what practice. All right. So let's move on. So let's try event listener. So I'm just going to comment this one. I'll comment it. Then probably let me just put this. Um, Let me cut this and put it in this note here. Yes. So let's do the add event listener. So this is how you're going to do it. So you say check. You select the button, the variable, then you say dot add event listener. So this is the best practice. This is the best practice recommended. So now this is it here. So I haven't really discussed on what they call it, IOTA function, callback function, and all of those. So that was going to be an advanced aspect of function. All right, but now this is the third way by using add event listener method. So we attach add event listener method to the variable that we have here. And now this add event listener method is going to receive two arguments. So the first one is going to be the nature of the event, the type of event that you want to that this button is triggering. So we want to trigger a click event. So what we are going to do is we are going to pass it inside of this parenthesis. So say okay, we'll put it in a quote. So that's the first one, then comma. Then after the event after the click event has been listen for, or once the click event has happened, what do we want to do after the click event has happened? We'll have a function here. So the function is where we are going to trigger execute something. So here I'm just going to do console, sorry, alert button click. Now alert button clicked. So let's see what we have here. The moment I click on this button, can you see button clicked? All right, fantastic. Fantastic. So let's go back to this. So now I'm just going to clear this off. So that's not what I want. So hold on. All right. So now that we've treated events, let's now focus on our project. So the moment I click on this button, what I want to do is I want to get the value of the input. Yes, I want to get the input value. All right. So that is what I'm interested in. I want to get the value of the input. So this is what I'm going to do. So this, where is it? I think I selected here. So instead of doing it here, this first one here, I'm just going to, I'll cut this. I'll cut this. I'll remove this other one here. I'll do it inside of the button. So I want to select it here. So I'll paste it here. All right. So and I'll give it. I will assign it a value. I'll call it const guess. So let's see how we can get the value. So the value will be, would attach dot value to it. All right, dot value. So let's console dot log it and let's see. S- So if you come here and I type 23 and I press check, can you see we're having what, 23 in the console? But this 23 that we have, let's confirm if it is a number data type or a string data type. So I'll say, so guess is a type is a type of, so let me put a comma here and also a comma here, and let's see what we have. So this type of is a method that checks the data type of a value. So let's check 23 and look at, so 23 is a type of what, string. So it's actually a string data type, though it's a number value, but it's a string what data type. So what are we going to do? So let's convert it to a number data type. So to convert it to a number data type, there are two ways. It's either we use the number constructor function or we just add plus beside the document. So when I add plus beside the document, it's going to convert the string data type to a number data type. All right. So if you save this again and let's see what we have here. So 23 and I click on check. Now can you see 23 is a type of what number? In fact, the color has changed from white to I think purple or I don't know. All right, so it's a number now, so I don't think I need the console anymore. All right, so what do we need? So the value that we get from the input has now been assigned to what? To guess. So now check. We want to do an if else statement. So I'll do if there is no guess. So I want to have something like if there is no guess. So this is how it works. All right. So let's say if the guess is empty. All right. If the guess is empty, that's what it means. So let me show you something. Let me, if I console the log guess, for instance, now, if I console the log guess, let me comment this if. Now, let me show you something. And let's say we don't have anything, we're not passing anything here, and I click on check. Can you see we are getting what? A value of what is zero. Why are we getting a value of zero? The reason why we are getting a value of zero is because we've already converted it to what? To a number. So had it been we didn't convert it to a number, what we could have gotten will be um an empty string. All right, it could have been an empty string. So, but because we converted it to a number, so we got what is zero. And you already know from what I taught you that is zero is a falsy value. Zero is what? A falsy value. So it's tantamount to is the same thing as not passing any value here, because once we don't pass in any value and we click on check, we'll get what is zero. So that's what we are trying to do here. We are trying to cater for the case whereby the user does not pass in any value. So what should we do? So now we'll say if there is no guess, this not guess here now, because if we don't pass in any value, watch, if we don't pass in any value, that means this guess will be a falsy value. And since it's a falsy value, the code block in if will not be executed. So rather we have to what? Invert it to what? We have to invert it. So if there is no guess at all, like if it's not passing any value in the input, and it gives us what is zero, which is a false value. So we are going to invert it to make it true, so that whatever we have in the if block will be what executed. So here, this is what we are going to do. I'm going to select the message. So say message L, then dot test content. If you still remember what I taught you last week, test content then equals. So we'll say no number. How do we do that? So we need we need to get an emoji. So where is that? Do I still remember? Okay, let me do it here. Mm, I will look for it. Just hold on. Hold on. This no entry. All right, good. No entry. So no entry. That's the name of the emoji. So I'll click on the no entry. Then I'll say. Aside from that, then I'll type no number. All right. So that's the text content. Now watch. The moment I click on this, can you see we are getting no number? All right. Correct. Correct. All right. So can you see that the moment we don't pass in any input here, if the input is empty and you click on check, we are getting no number. So all right, good. So let me remove the console here, or better still, let me comment it. All right. So, but what if there is an input? What if there's an input? Let's say I type in a value of one and I click on this. So nothing is happening here because this is a truthy value. So that means this will lead us to a multiple if else statement. So we can actually use what they call it now. We can use state ternary, what the I've forgotten, switch statement for that. But probably once we are done with this, I will give you an assignment to convert it to a switch statement. All right. So let's do if else if there is a guess. You get that now? If there is a guess, or if the guess is equals to the secret number. So we have three possibilities now. Three what possibilities? So the first possibility is when there's no input, we display this. But if there's an input, this is what we want to what display. If there's an input, and if the number, the input value is equals to the secret number, that means we will have to display a nice message. All right, so let's move on. Now let's see. So I will do I'll select the message. I'll say message l dot text content equals, so we need an emoji. So I think this is called party or something. Am I correct? No. Okay, yeah, this is it. And and then we'll say correct or something. Correct, correct number. We're getting there. Then we're going to select the secret number. So what we have here, where's the secret number? Where is it? Sorry, I'm coming. Okay, this one here, the secret number. So this is what we have here. So secret number L. So I'm going to say okay. In order for us to review the secret number, so I'll say secret number L. That's the secret number element. Dot text content will now be equals to the secret number. So there are two different things. You get that now? So here we have the secret number that we generate using math.trunc and math.random. So if the person's guess is equals to the secret number, that is when that's the only time we want to review the secret number. So the only time we review the secret number is when the the person's guess or the user guess is equals to the secret number. So how do we do it? So we selected the element secret number L dot text content, then we'll set it to the secret number that we generate here. All right. So now we'll now style the body. So this is how to style body. So I'll say body. Is it body here I use? Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Okay, body L. So I'll say body L. So to style the element, I'll just say body L dot style. So anytime we want to use inline styling using JavaScript, we just select the element, then we'll add what dot style, then we'll say dot background. So the way it is in CSS, the naming of the property, the way it is in CSS is different from JavaScript. So JavaScript use what we call camel case. Can you see that? Normally in JavaScript, in CSS, it will be background hyphen color. But now in JavaScript, it is background color. It's using a camel case. So let's see. All right. So the next one will be um we'll make the width. We'll make the width of the secret number to be 30 rem. We'll make the width. We want it to be enlarged a bit. So all right. So we are still coming back to this part. All right. So but what if the number that our guess is not equals to the secret number? What if is a number that is lower or higher than what they call it? That is lower or higher than the guess. So how do we do it? So we'll say okay, else if if the guess if the guess is not equals to the secret number, if the guess is not equals to the secret number, all of these things I've taught you before. That's the not equals to. This is strict not equals to. So if the guess is not equals to the secret number, so we are catering for several possibilities. The first one is when the input is empty. The second one is if the value of the input is equals to the secret number. Then the third one is if the value of the input is different from the secret number. So what do we want to do? They will want to give the user an hint to say, okay, um we'll say, okay, we'll do an if else statement here. But before we do if else statement, let's go back to the first if else if, where the guess is equals to secret number. So you know what we did here, we only just display the number. And okay, let me show you something. Let me console.log secret number. All right, console.log secret number. What is this? Okay, let me remove it. So I console the log secret number will come here. Now the secret number is 7. So the moment I type 7, now watch. I'm cheating a bit here. I click on check. Can you see? The color is what? As the color of the background color of the body has changed, and the width of the guess, the secret number width has been changed. It's now bigger. Now we can see the secret number now. Alright, but there's something here, nothing changed here. Okay, we have correct number, but the scores, the I scores, nothing changed at all. Nothing changed. So the I score is having a value of 20. Sorry, the score is having a value of 20. But the I score is what? Is 0. You get that now? So the I score is determined by the value of the secret number. So how do we do it? Let's see how we can do it. So here, inside of the else if, where the guess is equals to the secret number, I'm going to do something. I'll do if score is greater than the I score. Just watch. If score is greater than the I score, what do we want to do? We want to make I score. We want to make I score to be equals to what? Scores. All right. So then we'll now do I score dot test content equals to I score. All right. Now this is what we are trying to do here. If the score, because by default the score is was 20. So we say if the score is greater than the I score, and the I score is only gotten when it's only gotten the high score is gotten by the value of the secret number. All right, the value of the secret number. So now we say if the score, which is the value of 20 by default, is greater than the high score, then we want to assign the score to the what? To the high score, and display it display the value of the score in this element, the high score element. So now let me show you something here. So let's say we have 9, for instance. So I'm just going to call me our password 9, and I click on check. Okay, can you see? Oh, okay. I didn't really explain this part well. All right, sorry. Okay, so let's move on. So let me explain this better, please. Sorry for my misinterpretation of the game. Now we have a score of 20. Anytime you guess and the guess is not equals to this what they call it, it's not equals to the secret number, the score will reduce by 1. So if you keep guessing and keep guessing and the scores reduces by what? By 1. So let's say you guess like 5 times and this and the your guesses are not correct, so the score will be reduced by 5 times, so we have 15. You get that now? We have what? 15. All right. So we'll now check if we'll check now that if on the sixth one, let's say the sixth one will be let's say on the sixth guess you get it correctly. That means that the high score will now be what? 16. That's if you don't have any high score greater than the what? The score. All right. So you it will make sense a bit now. It will make sense once we finish this project. Just hold on. So now, when the guess is different from the secret number, when the guess is different from the secret number, this is what we want. This is what we want to do. If the guess is different from the secret number, we'll say okay. If the score, if the score is greater than one, so because the more you keep guessing, the more the score reduces. So the more you keep guessing, and if the guesses are not correct or doesn't tally with the secret number, the score value will keep what? Reducing. The score value will keep reducing. All right, it will keep reducing. So let me show you that. Hold on, please. Please hold on. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So if the guess is different from the secret number, we want to keep playing, because the more we the more we guess, and if the guesses are different from the secret number, it will keep reducing. And the moment a guess is zero, we want to have game over. All right, game over. So, but if the scores is greater than one, then we can still do something. So here I will say document. I'll say message. If the scores is greater than one, I'll say message l dot text content. The text content will be equals to, now if the guess is greater than the secret number, if the guess is greater than the secret number, if the guess is greater than the secret number, it means that the guess value is too high. But if the guess is lower than the secret number, it means that the value is too what? Low. Then afterwards, we'll reduce the score by one. All right. Then we'll display it in the test content like this. So now watch. Let's see what we have here. So if I pass in like 3, check. Can you see we have 19? It's supposed to tell us that it's too high. So why are we not seeing that? Message or text. If the guess is greater than secret number, then we want to have too high or too low. Sorry. Was it message L? Like message L? So what could be the problem? So if the guess is greater than the scores, then we have too high. If it's not, we have too low. Yes, it's correct. So why are we having something different? So if I do 9, this scores is reducing here, but we are not getting the message. So let me refresh again. Let me do like 9 and click on check. It's reducing, but the guessing is not working. Oh, it's supposed to be text content. So I did text. So I'm supposed to add T to it. Oh, sorry about that. So okay, so the secret number is 6. So let me just ignore it and do like 9. And I click. Can you see too high? So if I do something like 2, it will tell us too low. So anytime I keep clicking, can you see the score is reducing and reducing? All right, the score is reducing. So that's that. So the moment I guess and it gets to one, is supposed to um, give me a value of. It's supposed to tell me game over. All right, it's supposed to tell me game over. So that's where we'll cater for that in the else here. So in the else, I will do you lost the game. So we'll set the test content back to what is zero. All right, but let me comment this score L. Let me show you something here. Let's say if the scores is greater than zero, not one. If the scores is greater than zero, not one. Let me show you something. Let's see how many times we're going to play this game. So apparently the guess is the secret number is 19, and let's say I pass in 12 here. So now I'm going to click 1. So we have 19, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19. So when I click again, we have what? 20. You see that we have 0, but I can still click again. Can you see 21? That's where we now have what? You lost the game. So I click 21 times. I'm supposed to click 20 times. So that can only happen if I set this to what? Instead of setting it to greater than 0, I'll just make it greater than 1. So with this now, let's confirm again. So the score is 7. I'm going to make it like 10. And I will click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So you see 19. Once I click again now, 20, you have what? You lost the game. So I will reset the score back to what is 0. And that's what we have here. All right. Reset the score back to is 0. Now let's do that again. So let's say we have 4 here. So I'll click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Can you see it has been set back to what is 0? All right. So I think we're almost done. We're almost done with this project. So the next one is going to be this I score now. All right. It's going to be the I score. So let's check. Let's say I refresh this and we have 15. And let's say I make it, I intentionally type 12, sorry, 13, and I click like 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the value is now what? 14. So the moment I get the correct answer, let's say I do 15 and I press check. Can you see? Now the I score is now what? 14. Initially the I scores value is what? Is 0. You get now? The initial value was what? Is 0. So now watch. This further explains this I score. If the score is greater than I score, then make the score the I score. But if it is not greater than the I score, let the I score remain the same. Alright, so now that is the implementation. Very simple. So then let's look at the again functionality. Alright. So what do we need to do in the again? So anytime we want to play the game again, so we need to reset this back to the normal. So when we click on this button again, we want to reset the, what they call it now, we want to reset the background to back to black. We want to reset this the width of the guess my the secret number. We want to reset it back to the normal width. We want to hide the number and want to remove the value of this input. We set it back to empty. Then we set the correct number back to start guessing. We set everything else. So okay, I think we'll maintain. Okay, we'll set the scores back to 20, but we'll maintain the I scores. So we'll leave the I scores as it is. All right, so now we're going to add an event listener to again BTN, add event listener, and then we'll listen for what? A click event, a function. All right, so yeah, I'm going to set the score back to 20 and the secret number, I'm going to um, reinitialize the secret number. We declared it with let the other time, so we can use it like this. So anytime we click on the again button, it's going to generate a new another secret number. Then for the message, I'm going to do message L dot text content. We have start guessing. Then the next one, the I scores test content equals to this. Then we'll also do this. We'll bring it back to the question mark. Then the other one will be the input. That's document or get element document or create selector. The input will set it back to empty. Then what again? We'll set the background color back to this color. Then also we'll set the width back to 15 rem. So that's all. That is all that we need to do. Everything here. So if we come back here and let's start afresh. Okay, let me inspect. So let's say we have 15 and I do something like 17 and I click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I get the correct answer and I click on guess. Can you see? We have everything here. So the highest course is now 8. So the moment I click on again, everything is back to normal. The highest course did not change, but the scores everything is back to normal. And now can you see? We have another value. Okay, this not that's not the we have on that value. Let's say I do 12. It's telling us too low. Let's say I do 15. It's telling us too low. Let's say I do 17. It's telling us too high, so it's going to be 16, I guess. So 16. Initially, the high scores was 8. Now, the scores was 17, so it becomes what 17. So you see that now? Very simple. So we can click again and we can keep playing and playing and playing and playing. So that's all about this game. So we've just used this to basically learn how Doom works. We've learned how Doom works. So we're going to look at other things too as well tomorrow. But let's stop here for now. So guys, do you understand it or do you want me to explain some key concept that you don't really understand? So yeah, the floor is open now. You can speak. Are you there, Mr. Felix and the General? Do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay,
This one, everything is clear.
everything is clear. Fantastic. All right, good, 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 good. So we'll meet tomorrow to continue the dome. So probably we are going to look at other things tomorrow. All right, we'll look at other things tomorrow. So probably it might be an image slider or um an accordion and so all right, let's end the class here. So meet again tomorrow. Bye for now.
All right, bye, sir.
Yeah.